And that's where cognitive therapy comes in. Cognitive therapy helps you do this. It helps you look at things more realistically. For example, what if you had the thought, I can't be happy, I can't have any pleasure? How do you test out this thought? Well, one way of testing this out is to keep track of your pleasure for every hour of the week, rating your pleasure on a scale from 0 to 10. Keep track of what you're doing every single hour. Get up in the morning and write down what you do each hour throughout the day and rate that hour for pleasure from 0 to 10. At the end of the day, look at your record and ask yourself, does my pleasure change during the day? Does it depend on what I'm doing? For example, one woman found that her pleasure was actually higher when she was working or when she was talking with her friends and when she was exercising. So her pleasure depended on what she was doing. This is important because you can change your behavior to do things that are pleasurable. This can change your negative thinking and the way you feel. You can always change what you do. If you do something different, you might actually feel better. Now, some people say, isn't this simply think positively? Isn't cognitive therapy the power of positive thinking? Well, no, actually it's not. Cognitive therapy is not the power of positive thinking. It's not simply think positively. No, we ask you, in fact, to look at the facts and think realistically. And sometimes when you think realistically, you might actually have some problems that you really need to solve. For example, you might have the thought, I'll probably fail this exam. Now, this thought could actually turn out to be true if you don't do something about it. One of the things that can help you is to consider how you can solve real problems. For example, if you're thinking that you might fail the exam, you might solve this problem by studying more or getting some help from friends or even getting an extension if that's possible. Or you might think, how could I handle things if I did fail the exam? For example, you might have to take the course over again. That wouldn't be a catastrophe, but it might be somewhat unpleasant for you. Won't be the end of the world. Bad things do happen, but they don't have to be a catastrophe. If you're feeling lonely, think about how you can solve this problem. For example, you might consider a range of alternatives. These could include joining organizations or taking classes or becoming more outgoing when you're out around other people. Or you might volunteer to help other people, or you might get involved in community activities. You might call up some people and make plans. You might go out to events such as music performances, sporting events, dances, and other events, and just act friendly toward other people. You might think of how you can improve your time when you are alone. For example, you might develop hobbies or plan activities that you can do on your own. In other words, when you're thinking about a negative outcome, think about what solutions you can actually carry out and then carry them out. Now, what if you want to see a cognitive therapist? If you do decide to go to a cognitive therapist, you can expect your therapist to help you identify your negative thinking. This might involve writing down negative thoughts every day and learning how to categorize them like we did before. Are you personalizing? Are you catastrophizing? Are you fortune-telling? Are you labeling yourself? Are you engaging in all or nothing thinking? Your therapist can also help you learn some self-help techniques. These could involve looking at the advantages and disadvantages of your thoughts. For example, sometimes we think our negative thinking will motivate us. So you might be motivated to hold on to your negative thoughts. But your negative thoughts have bad consequences as well. They make you miserable. You can learn to look at the evidence for and against your thinking. You can test out the evidence. Does the evidence support your thinking, or does it argue against it? You can set up experiments to test out your thoughts. For example, if you think that no one will talk to you, you can go to a party and ask people to talk about themselves. What you'll probably find is that other people love talking to you because you're willing to listen. Now, one piece of advice that works quite well is to ask yourself, what advice would I give a friend who had these problems? You know, sometimes we're a lot better at giving other people advice. So think about the advice you'd give a friend who has your problems and take the advice yourself. And finally, you might take a look at my book, The Worry Cure, which can give you a number of ideas about how cognitive therapy can help you. The great thing about cognitive therapy is that you can learn how to help yourself. It's a great way of feeling better, by learning how to rely on yourself. To learn more about cognitive therapy and depression and anxiety, go to our website, cognitivetherapynyc.com. Thank you.